Alrighty, so you are finally ready to look at our first entry model. So hopefully by now I've done a good enough job of drilling into your heads that this is almost the very last thing we look at when we are obviously on our charts. All of the hard work should already be done before you're even looking at your lower time frame. To take the entry. All of the work is done on building the high time frame and medium time frame narrative, understanding your multi-time frame analysis, identifying high probability POIs on your medium time frame to play that idea, and then only once price hits your medium time frame POI, the high probable one you're looking at, that's aligned with your directional bias, where there's enough risk towards on your side, everything's looking great, only then do you drop down to your lower time frame of choice, okay, and then look for the entry model. So for me, my medium time frame is the M15. So this black line here, I'm now drawing in red, represents your medium time frame. Okay, this is obviously then your medium time frame POI. So when it comes to the entry model, LC2A, the fake break entry model, the very first step is your medium time frame POI mitigation. Okay, so we do nothing until this happens. So you literally set your alerts on your POI. And until that alert goes off, until we actually get price tapping into your POI, we do nothing. Only once we have the POI mitigation can we now look at the rest of the entry model requirements. Okay, so this is the primary and first entry model we're looking at. Now, you might be asking, what on earth is LC2A? Where did that come from? LC essentially just stands for liquidation candle. Not the most inventive name, but that will make sense in a minute. And the 2A, it comes from an old entry model that we used to trade and teach, which if you've been here a while, you'll definitely be familiar with. And that is regards to the fake break, okay? So if you're new and you're watching this for the first time, don't really worry about what 2A means. Just remember that this is the name, it's the fake break liquidation LC2A, okay? So again, step one, we must wait for our medium time frame POI mitigation. That's the probably most important step, because remember, the lower time frame entry model is simply a timing mechanism for our medium time frame POI. So if you trade, a super pretty looking entry model somewhere up here, but we haven't had a mitigation of our medium time frame POI yet, you're kind of pissing in the wind, right? Because price can do whatever it wants up here, but it's much more likely to want to mitigate this level before making that move that we're trying to capture, okay? So don't get roped into looking at the lower time frames until we have step one, okay? As soon as you have that, the question you now need to ask yourself is there a strong liquidation? Has a strong liquidation formed in the pullback? Okay, so once you get that mitigation on the medium time frame POI and you're looking at your lower time frame, you must then only look at the pullback, right? The medium time frame pullback to your POI, and somewhere within this green circle, so only in the pullback, you want to see, has there been a strong liquidation? Okay, so we're not looking at any strong lows in the leg here. This is not relevant for this entry model. I'm going to keep saying it, we only look at what forms in the pullback, okay? And for a strong liquidation, because this is a bullish scenario where we want to get long, if you're a big guy and you're buying, what do you need? You need opposing sell side liquidity, right? You want to be getting long where there's lots of sell orders in the market, okay? And where do we assume there's going to be a lot of induced sell side liquidity? We assume it's going to be behind lows in the market, and to be more specific, strong lows. How do we define a strong low? A strong low is a low that broke structure. It's a low that caused a high, okay? So once we have our POI mitigation, we then look in the pullback and we go, has there been a strong liquidation? But what is that? We need to see a low that caused a high that has then been liquidated. So as we can see, price is coming down, okay? Price comes up. This low is not a strong low. Why? It did not break any structure to the left, right? It did not break the fractal high to the left, okay? So price comes down and it takes out that low, but that's not a strong low. So that's not a strong liquidation. Price comes up, it fails to break that high to the left. It doesn't cause a bullish chock. Okay, so when price comes down, that is not a strong liquidation because this is a weak low. It did not break any structure. Okay, so we follow it down. Now this low eventually breaks the fractal high on the lower time frame. Okay, so for me that would be the M5, and it causes a bullish lower time frame change of character. So now we have a strong low in the market. We have a low that broke a high to the left. Okay, it must be the true fractal high that it breaks. Okay, we're not looking at random highs within here. This is not relevant. We're looking at the fractal structure to the left. Okay, that eventually causes the choke. Now, this is another common mistake where people get wrong. Once we get the bullish choke here, okay, so imagine prices at this point in the market. The low that we care about for the strong liquidation is always the lowest low. Okay, so when we get the bullish change of character here, if you understand fractal structure, you will know that this is now where the fractal low is. Okay, that's the fractal low. So if price comes down, where I've drawn that red line, that is the bearish change of character. Okay, but we don't care about that for this entry model. What we are looking for is we want to see that bullish change of character. And as soon as that bullish change of character occurs here, we look for the lowest point that caused that change of character. Why? Because that's where the most amount of available strong liquidity is going to be. Okay, and that's what we care about. We want to see this lowest point that causes that break. We want to see that get liquidated. Okay, those are the rules for the strong liquidation. So it's the common mistakes that we see. One, make sure it breaks structure to the left. Okay, so this low eventually causes the true change of character here. It takes out the fractal high. Once that happens, we then find the lowest low. We always want the extreme. We want the most extreme bit of liquidity. So we'd mark it out. We draw our liquidation line on. Now we do nothing until that line is liquidated. If you see price doing this, it can chop around, it can go all the way up here, it can do whatever. It can take out all of these lows here. We're not interested. As soon as we get that first change of character here, we literally do nothing until that low is taken out. That's what we would be waiting for. Okay, we don't care about anything that occurs here. We can get a bearish shock, we can get a bullish shock, we could then take out this low. Yes, that low has then caused the break of that high, but we don't care because we're waiting for the extreme low to go. Okay, and this is a common mistake I see a lot. So always make sure that the lowest point here that you can see, that's what we're going to wait for. So once we get that liquidation, assuming we have the POI mitigation, we then wait for the candle to close. Obviously, we'll get candles that come down. Once we have that liquidation candle in our POI, we then place our buy stop above it. Okay. Now, there's a few technical details on exactly how we do that, and I'll cover that in the next lesson when we go on the charts. Okay. But essentially, what we want to happen is the next candle pushes up and it will tag us into the trade. But if price keeps pushing down, we then cancel our order. We wait for the new candle to finish printing, and then we move our buy stop above here. Again, if price keeps pushing down, we cancel our order, and then once this new candle finishes printing, we'll place our buy stop here. So eventually, hopefully, we then get tagged in as price goes in our favor. However, if price keeps pushing down like this, cancel our order, and then eventually it breaks the POI, the very second that price trades through it, so it can be a wick break, this medium time frame POI has now failed, and the trade idea is finished. Okay, we are very strict with that rule with this entry model. As soon as price trades through the POI, a wick break is enough, okay, because it's supply and demand. If this POI is going to hold, there should be enough orders within price to contain price. There should be enough orders within the zone to contain price. So if price trades through, we are no longer looking for the entry model. We need to wait for a new medium time frame POI to form. Okay. Now, yes, sometimes price can sweep the low and it can go, but that is not part of the rules for this entry model. Okay, we're not doing that. So price must be within the POI. Okay, so in simple terms, wait for your medium time frame POI mitigation, identify if there has been a strong liquidation. If there hasn't been one, then what do? You simply wait, because sometimes price will be within the POI, then we get the fake break, identify the extreme low, wait for price to liquidate it. As long as we are still within the POI, now we can take the entry down here. Okay, so the liquidation sometimes will happen before the POI, and sometimes it will happen within the POI. It doesn't matter where it happens. What does matter is that we must have the POI mitigation at some point. Okay, so the reason why I put number one medium time frame POI mitigation is because that is the first thing that you must wait for. So that's why we do nothing until we actually get this mitigation. Then we look for the strong liquidation. Yes, this low led to the change of character there, right? The same way you map fractal structure, you should be comfortable with that. Once that change of character occurs, we always take the extreme. Okay, and then we can take the entry, which will become clearer. Exactly how this will become clearer when we hop on the charts. Okay, and you can go over that here. Mitigation of your medium time frame POI. Liquidation, So either find one if there has been one, in this case there has. If you get the mitigation and you can't see one, like imagine price just comes down like this, there's no strong liquidation, then you wait. You simply wait. And what will happen is you'll usually get a bullish chock, then you wait for this low to get liquidated, okay? And now we have the entry because we have the mitigation and the liquidation. Now, step 3, validation, we're not going to cover in this lesson. We'll cover that in a future lesson soon. But that's basically where sometimes you'll get like a liquidation all the way up here, right? Fake break, liquidated, and then price comes all the way down into your POI. And it's really like, well, is this liquidation relevant for here? And basically the validation lesson, which is coming up, that will help you answer that. Okay, we have 2 methods for that. You pick one, the PBL method or the early entry method. But don't worry about that for now. We'll get to that later. And then step 4, right? Once we've got all of this, we then place our stop order, so a buy stop above the entry candle, and then we hope that price will tag us in. Otherwise, if price keeps pushing down, then we keep cancelling our order and then place a new order once the candle finishes printing until eventually we get tagged in, or the POI fails and then the trade idea is over. Okay? But again, that will become clearer in the next lesson. So the bearish case, exact same thing, but obviously bearish, right? This is your medium time frame. So you then have your medium time frame POI. You want to wait for a high probability POI where you have a clear directional bias. Okay, step 1, wait for your medium time frame POI mitigation. Step 2, look in the pullback, right? It must be in the pullback. We're not looking for any highs over here. That's not part of this entry model. That's not what we're interested in. We are only interested in what forms in the pullback. Okay. Has there been a strong liquidation? Well, let's look at the fractal structures. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. Then we do get a bearish shock here, right? This high breaks a low to the left, breaks the true fractal low. That causes a change of character. Where's our strong liquidation point? It's not this high. Yes, that's the fractal high, but that's not the one we care about. We always take the extreme. The highest point that caused the chock, that's where the most amount of available strong liquidity is going to be, where we want to be getting short. So again, if we get that change of character here, right, mark out your strong liquidation point, and then whatever price does, it can take this high, it can break a low, it can come back up again and take this high, it can do whatever. We don't care. We do nothing until that high goes, okay? Because sometimes this price action here can all occur within the POI, right? But it's the extreme high that must get liquidated. If we get that, then we enter on a liquidation candle, sell stop below the low, and we get tagged in, okay? So mitigation, strong liquidation, validation, you'll learn soon, and then, yeah, we'll place our stop orders above or below the candles, which will make more sense when we hop on the charts.